Okay, let's begin. Game 1 today is going to be in the NWL North American Lexicon with the double challenge. Let's see how it goes. I'll be moving second in this game. And just going to make sure we're all set up as usual with the drawing tool and everything else we need to communicate what's going on adequately. So I'm a little bit heavy on consonants right now, and especially some very high points but difficult consonants like the J and the Q, and so we'll see what actually comes down, but I will be looking for something like a vowel to play through or an I to do a parallel over. But we'll see. If we can score reasonably, then we'll take it. If we can't, then something like an exchange would not be out of the question, but it depends, of course, on what's going to go down first. Okay, fret's gonna go down. We are not really going to have a lot to work with here with my current rack. I probably don't want to just block off. We have a whole bunch of consonants afterwards that we still don't have a way to deal with. So one thing I am considering right now is something like an exchange. Either that, or we could just try to play some things off, but keeping J, Q, G. Yeah, I don't like that. I think I may actually just either change 7 or dump everything down to an IT. Because I don't think we really have good plays, necessarily. Let's change. Yeah, worried about doubling the I sometimes. I don't know if this should be maybe a change 6 or 7 instead. And indeed, we're going to have a doubled I, so maybe a big change keeping an I this early on is not actually the best idea. But that's one of those things where I will have to look at it computationally afterwards, too. See if we maybe should have rethought that. Because now we are going to be close to something, but with the I being the way it is, not sure that's actually going to be the case here. Tuitions. Yeah, we could do that. It's not going to score much at all, but that's okay. We just want to get it down, and the O is likely to be bombarded with something, but we'll just take it. Maybe we can extend it with an IN later if we have nothing better to do with that location. Anyway, one of the B's that we threw in early on is going to come right back and boomerang its way back to us now. And yeah, we'll just see how this goes. Probably going to prioritize playing off some duplication. That's likely to be the first order of business when we actually get to our turn again. Yeah, it didn't score very much, and 59 points, that's almost as low as a bingo can possibly get. But I don't know if we would have had something better than that that would have gone anywhere else. And with a rack like that, I'm probably not going to be burning too much time on that. I mean, having OIIU there on a 1-point rack that otherwise isn't going to do much for us, I think 59 points is reasonable. especially positionally. Right now we don't have anything that's going to deal with the O spot over here to the right. My opponent seems to be thinking, though, and that's usually indicative of not having a very obvious play to take that spot. And the U spot is much less of a concern, except against the H. Okay, Minster's is going to go down, 6 tiles. Unfortunately, I don't think Rocky Balboa is actually named for a word, but I'm actually not sure because like I feel like I confused this with a particular kind of tree. Is there a tree that sounds like this, or because now I'm second guessing myself? Not that it can go down anyway. Actually, it's not really something that we are really even going to be able to consider. So one thing that I'm looking at is whether we can string anything through here. But yeah, I wouldn't have a hook for it even if it were good, and so maybe it is a tree. I don't know. Because of course I'm just thinking of Rocky Balboa, but it's not going down, so let's not dwell on it. I kind of like this, except of course the doubled A that we have coming out of that. 20 points over here. Yeah, let's do it. Right now, the fact that I have not only 1 but 2 S's tells me that having more S hooks on the board, with 1 S already down and 1 blank already used, is actually going to be to my advantage. Right now, if we have this corner like this, what that's doing is it's closing off my ability to do very much with the S in the way I would like. Now, currently, we are running into a bit of an issue with a double A here. NA does not, I believe, take an S at the back in this dictionary, and so we don't have anything other than the E that's going to go there gracefully. I am, of course, still looking at this T lane as well, because that's something that has a certain amount of potential. Yeah, it's possible I could be losing, or rather missing something here, but if not, we will probably just try to unduplicate a little bit and simplify this. Yeah, currently looking at this and seeing if there's maybe a 6 that I can string through there. I don't know. If not, we'll probably do something through here. I feel like even with the duplicated S, I don't want to just burn an S like this. Yeah. Sometimes I sketch out some ideas that are really not all that good at all. Sorry, I was about to put like data and then I realized data is already plural, I think. We could also just make a small play over here and just try to open up a little bit. That's terrible, but actually that's terrible. We should have left the T lane open. I feel like that was maybe a bit of a panic play. Probably should have just gone for a bigger play like, you know, Slate or something down here and actually scored. Do I even have something now? Let's think about this. Sometimes the LESS ending gives you something. Sometimes it doesn't. Whoops. Doubled S's really do restrict you, though. in ways that are not always nearly as good as you might hope. I think here I might actually just dump an S, and that's almost nothing though. That's 15 points. Is awful. No. Alias, no, we don't have the right thing for that. Didn't really look at this R lane, in fact. I feel like I might have just missed something there earlier. Yeah, let's just open up a bit. This is too tight a board for me to play on. This is kind of a disastrous start for me. I feel like I've been missing tons of stuff. And easy stuff. And, yeah, we'll just have to think about this a little bit. Yeah, I was actually thinking aidless on the previous rack, but I don't think I had a place for it. I think aidless is probably good, like if you don't provide aid to a place. MU over here is going to leave an E hook for later. That's something that would be good to keep in mind. This will be nice, it'll open up an S up top. Let me just make sure we're not missing anything really critical with something like the LY ending. I don't think so. Let's just get rid of the Y. Now let's see what to do with this. Yeah, currently looking at the D, looking at the R. Those are the lanes. Unless we are still missing something really easy, which you have these high probability wrecks. Sometimes turns out to be the case. A little bit heavy on vowels all around though, so if we can shed some of that on our way down, that would be very helpful. Yeah, I feel like this goes with various letters for 8s, but I don't see a 7. Like eulogias and such for a G. But we're not going to get anything that convenient, unfortunately, so... Okay, this is going to still be open to the S, but I'm not just going to use it there. So never mind that. Might be a good place for NAOI. That doesn't really help the situation in terms of lanes on the right side, but... yeah, we're about even right now. I should be thinking about playing relatively open to take advantage of the fact that I am building towards a bingo-ish rack. NAOI is not too bad, though, in terms of at least getting out of that corner and getting out of some foul trouble. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything else that's down the bottom lanes or on that R. Yeah, 11 points. Ugh, yuck. Now we have W and U. None of this is going to be very useful. I think G no longer goes here. I believe GOY might have been something offensive. Or at least I don't know what the alternative meaning is, so... in this dictionary, that will no longer go. And, oh, yikes. Yeah, we got hit by 78 points there, so the OY actually was a J setup, I think, and we just got killed by this. Okay, I mean, I need room to come back. We have 2 S lanes now. I don't really want to block off one like this. But the idea is that we want to leave both of these open if we can. We just want to leave things open in general. or create some additional opportunities, but right now getting rid of the W and the U is also something that would go a long way, so it wouldn't completely obstruct. It might get me into a bit of trouble, though. Okay, now we have shingles. Shingles nicely goes either way, so long as nothing else goes down on the S. And actually, it will go here as well, so in most scenarios, I should be able to get something down next turn and dig myself out of this hole a little bit. Of course, I'm still looking around to see if we... Well, I mean, we just have shingle by itself down here as well as a contingency, so yeah, we will definitely get something down. So that's going to be 79 down here. This is going to be 89 over here. Then the question is, I mean, I'm behind by enough that maybe we should be trying to leave things nice and open. These positions here with the G on that spot are both going to be 92. They are going to leave something very conspicuously open above the I, though, which... Do I want to do that? I mean, yeah, I want to leave lanes nice and open. This is the position that's still going to retain the top right lane. And the I is a bit of a risk, but we'll take it. And indeed, that's going to work to my advantage because I've drawn to Q. Q and X are both major threats here. QI is definitely going to be a play. That's first choice in the next turn. But it is going to be blocked because my opponent correctly realizes that's a threat and also reveals that she's currently vowel heavy and without something that could have taken advantage of that spot otherwise. That's fine. We still have a way to use the Q for a boatload of points, and so we'll do that. And that's going to close off the top right, but that's okay because we are scoring by enough that in a tied situation, I'm just going to play through the position and try to get ahead. This is going to be great, in fact, because IN is mostly a problem against the Z, and we have the Z for ZA up there, and so just a very, very fortunate series of draws here every time, or ever since we played off the WUD. And so now everything is looking much more winnable despite an extremely rough start. We also have a backup spot down here for Z over ZEN. Would likely just be something like Zap for 40. Yeah, currently first choice is Za for 63. And then we still have enough to work with to get rid of that often very annoying V before things get closed down too much around here. So yeah, it looks like we'll be in fairly good shape in terms of just continuing to score. X is of course the biggest question mark right now, but we are not going to worry about it. We're just going to get that out of the way. So currently I'm thinking about something like Vapor over here. That is not going to score very much, but it is going to get the V out of the way. I'm still looking around to see if we have anything much better than that. And yeah, very lucky draws for me actually, having these three plays in a row. Shingles for 92, QI for 44, ZA for 63. I mean, this was the bag coming in and rescuing me. Because frankly, I think we played terribly at the very start here, so. One nice way of getting rid of the V is Prove down here for 25. That's actually much better. It keeps AER. Notice that lanes are still open. I'm ahead by enough now that I should be thinking about potentially starting to close down and lock up the board, but I also don't want too much clunk like the V on my rack, so. Okay, top right spot is, I think, not really going to be a concern. So yeah, Vapor here would kind of close down the R, but I think I'd rather take the points. I'd rather give myself a pretty decent lead here. 9 vowels, 15 consonants. We could actually draw into something like an EBA and go down the left side. It's very possible. And this is close to something like that. Unfortunately, I don't think it is. But that's okay, because at this point, yeah, we have something so close to like fricassee off an S, but there's no S that's going to be dangled in the middle of nowhere, I think. So if we had something like an S to play through, we have fricassee. We're really, really not going to get that. I can't imagine a play that would actually position an S that conveniently. And the S would have to be a blank too, because I forgot that all 4 S's are in fact expended. Because of that S there, I just forgot to count it. So the blank is still an open question. The X is still out there, but without that many places to go. At this point, I think the priority actually should be to start locking up so we don't get killed by something like a bingo down that lane at the very end. And yeah, something simple like a cafe would work. Unless we have... yeah, you can reface as well. Reface would be vulnerable to a P on top or preface. It also doesn't really formally close up. You could still have some spots here. I think, depending on the player you're playing against and what you are afraid of losing to, you know, that's something that you would consider if choosing cafe over reface. But I think at this point we can probably comfortably outrun, because you're not going to have at least a massive consonant landing on either spot, even in the case of a bingo. So I don't know if I am missing something like a 7 here. I really don't think so. We can also do fierce, actually. I like fierce a lot better. Even though that expends the last I in the bag, I think it's also much harder to play into, and you also don't have the problem with that P hook. And indeed, I'm going to grab the blank here. So currently the only spot we can really look at is something like an A on the B. Otherwise we would have a whole bunch of stuff. We would have tangles, we would have... we don't really have room for an 8, but... oh, you know, we could have tanglers. Tanglers would be a good one there. Down the R, if that remains open. Otherwise, we would need to have something that goes down to the B, with the only tile that's going to go in front of a B, which is going to be an A. So we are going to go tanglers. Just thinking about that here. Make sure it's actually... it's common enough that I should know it is cold, but there's some ER that looks like that isn't, and which throws me off. I'm pretty sure Tanglers is good, though. I can't imagine that it wouldn't be. And yeah, let's see where we go with the ADE to end. So, I mean, I think I was essentially just saved by the bag here. I don't think there's really a way of putting it with that bingo QZ sequence. That really locked things up for me. And my opponent is currently sitting on the remaining V as well, and a whole bunch of E's. So, just extremely lucky draw there at the end. I mean, Tanglers here was 65. If my opponent had drawn something like that instead in bingoed, I would still have comfortably won, I think. But we'll see here. Now, DEA, I think this combination of letters, there isn't anything that's a 3, so let's... we can't quite go X here. We can go... no, we can't go dates because EE is not in this dictionary. You would think it would be easier than this too. I mean, you know, worst case, we just put deer here or something. But let's see if we can find anything better. Possibly not. It's not nearly as good a rack to end on as you might want. Okay, in that case, let's just go maybe dare. That's it. We'll just take the win here. I was thinking about whether bomb takes an E, because I know the bomb is the cryptographic machine that was part of the code-breaking effort at Bletchley Park, imported from the original Polish construction, but I don't know if it's a proper term. I think it does take an E, and I think it is that meaning, but we'll check that afterwards. But we can check that now, actually, since we're finished. Oh no, it's actually a dessert, okay. Well, or at least that's one dessert. Okay, so we're going to take the win here, 497 to 325, and that's going to be it for this. That ended really quickly, so we can take a look over the early game and see everything I missed, because, like I said, the early game was awful. Let's go back and take a look. So yeah, I'm sure I missed all kinds of things here. So, exchanging keeping IT was actually best here, so I'm glad I judged that correctly, even if we did draw into a duplicate I. Just a very val-heavy rack in general. We can do some of the comparisons here. Keeping T is actually a little bit worse. Change 7, well, I mean, change 7 on first rack is always going to be equity is 0, just because it's a random draw into the bag. And that's just going to be an average case scenario. But yeah, as you can see, there's absolutely nothing I can do here that's better than this 2.47 value on the exchange. Axeman, welcome. We are having word fights. I just won the first one. I'm just going back over the game quickly to see what we missed, because I felt like my early game was awful. So I found tuitions. I didn't find Wistiti, or however this is pronounced, because I don't know it. Yeah. Oh, it is a Wistiti. Wistiti. It's a kind of animal. It's a marmoset. So yeah, I saw tuitions, and I played it. I think that's probably the best position for it. I would not have seen the alternative. I did not see Virtuosi. Now that's fancy. Just a virtuosic play, I guess. Okay. And yeah, so after that, oh, missed Criminy on my opponent's side. That super mushroom there, just not going down. Oh, I see. Okay, no, she was at this point. Yeah, playing mincers over here. And was thinking mincier. But I guess that wouldn't have gone down anywhere, yeah. So yeah, it's actually a set of 3. I think it's Criminy, Mincier, and Crimine. But let's just take a look at that. The only thing that would be able to go down here would be Criminy. So yeah, that's one of those where you'd have to know it as a set through study, and it's possible that my opponent would not have gone that far down in terms of probability. This was where I saw Balboas on my rack. I just want to do a quick define on that, because I think it's good, but of course it didn't have a place to go down. Oh, okay, it's a coin, it's not a tree. I'm probably just thinking of like a baobab tree, like a baobab. Baobab. Yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking of. But Balboa is a Panamanian currency, and so that's something that would be worth knowing. In general, actually, currencies are worth knowing. But yeah, I missed Barble. I didn't really think about any kind of play going down to the triple. I don't think I really knew Barble confidently. Oh no, of course I did. Barble is something pertaining to a beard. And Baba is you. Baba is also 28 points. Really should have considered some stuff like that. We made an absolutely dreadful play here, I think. That is just a bomb. It's defensible, I guess, but a double A really is a hindrance. And if we could undouble it with something like Baba, that would have been quite superior. Evaluates to a lot better, in fact. Okay. Yeah, a lot of things that my opponent was likely to miss here, although this UH spot was, of course, still open. And, you know, this was reasonable. Like, if you're sitting on a lot of consonants, I mean, you're still stuffed with too many consonants, but my opponent actually had quite a lot of options here in terms of being able to score in one spot and then score in the other spot if it remained open. Obviously, if you do see one of the big plays coming down to the triple, you take it, but those are a little harder to read with this rack, especially if you don't know confidently works. Words like this that are mostly loan words from Arabic. Yeah, all loan words from Arabic, in fact. Okay, I didn't think I had a 7 or 8 here, and I didn't. I was thinking about the bomb hook, obviously. I feel like I made a bit of a panic move here just by playing this for 8 points, and it was absolutely terrible. So, yeah. Some of these plays at dump 1S are okay. I mean, I don't think I like them very much positionally, especially with the vowels just sitting over here waiting to be hit with something. But luckily, the S doesn't take very much after it, just takes... and yeah, neither does the L, for instance. You'd have something like a consonant AI start to do anything there, so that's a lot safer than it looks. Maybe. I mean, my opponent has an H. I didn't know that, of course, but the H could have gone under S for SH and just hit me pretty hard here, so... I didn't really like any of my options here, though. I was just rebalancing in a hurry. And, okay, so... yeah, I was looking at this spot, obviously. I think some of these words my opponent might not have known, but I'm not sure. Inhume as the opposite of exhuming. Never really thought about that you have to inhume somebody first before you can exhume them. Okay, so I missed... okay, no, I didn't have any 7s here, but something like Ild would have scored well in a dangerous position. This would have been open to the A hook behind too, if you are attentive to that. So yeah, here I'm still just kind of fidgeting around and trying to make small plays going up to a bingo. And, I mean, I don't think it's very good, but... as you can see, keeping the EILS is highly valued. So we have an evaluation here of this being worth 30 points when you consider to leave, even though I'm only scoring 15, so... maybe not the worst trade-off, considering what I'm going for strategically here. And there's actually a whole bunch of... well, not a whole bunch, but there's definitely at least 7 Merinos. And... nothing goes down for my opponent. That's really too bad that there aren't any 8s or any spots for 7 on this board, because I completely closed off around Tad. And yeah, OK only takes those vowels as well, but it just wouldn't have gone down anywhere, actually, which is extremely lucky for me. Yeah, just Merinos in this dictionary. I'm going to speed through this because round 2 pairings are going up. And I know how this game went. We didn't have any 7s here either. I got hit like crazy with a J. And yeah, my second pairing is coming up in just a moment. And my opponent starts getting stuff with vowels, and then this is where I hit hard. This Shingles for 92, QI for 44, ZA for 63, and that pretty much wins it for me right there. I just got good draws. in a particular position, so I'm just making sure I didn't miss too much. I like a lot of these ideas. I didn't think about going down here with the F-play. I was too busy thinking about closing off the lane up here with the blank unaccounted for, so I think given that the blank was unaccounted for, that's probably okay. And we got it at the end anyway and just ran away with this. So anyway, let's head back to the lobby and let's get set up for game 2. So yeah, not too much to look at in the back half there, just because the bag just decided to turn my fortunes around despite how horribly we were doing up to that point. Okay, this is going to be, again, in the NWL Lexicon. It is against a player who usually plays Collins, but is practicing, I think, for an NWL tournament, so I'll be going second. An exchange is very, very likely on my first turn, depending on what kind of position we're dealing with, just because, you know, 4 A's and a Q, we're not playing through that. Like, even if you have an I on the board for QAID or QADI, we would be in big trouble. Because, yeah, I can't see a circumstance where I'd score, say, 30-something with that and still keep AAAO and have it work out. I think we're definitely dumping. Probably dumping down to AD. Because we picked up 4 A's, you have less of a duplication risk from dealing with the A's. So here's what I'm talking about. That if we play QAID, that scores 34, and you know what? It's really tempting to play through it. It's really tempting to play through it. I don't know how bad mathematically AAAO actually is. But okay, 34-point sacrifice to not play that and dump down to AD. Maybe we can, this early in the game, just draw consonants and play into it. But I feel like I'm likely to be exchanging next turn. But at least we get the Q problem out of the way and actually score with it. Yeah, we're exchanging. We're exchanging. Unless you want to, you know, do Aqua or something, but unless I have a really good reason to, I don't see myself doing that. Because, you know, even if you played something like Aqua down here, you're still doing AOOO, and that's not happening. We're probably changing 7. Hilarious opening draws, but not something that's actually playable. So why didn't I just do Aqua on the first turn? Because that would have only been about, what, 13 points, and yeah, that would have been 13 points, and it would not have really done anything interesting for me. Okay, that's going to hit me hard. We need to change. There's no way we can play out of this. Because, yeah, this is 13 points, keep AOO. That's definitely way down in the negatives in terms of value. Dump 7. Although, with how vowel-heavy both players are at this point, maybe I should have kept that into account and kept 1A because we knew the duplication risk was relatively low. And yeah, Paxman, it also takes an E at the end. Let me just show you. It's a really good one to know. Very useful because it can score on a rack with far too many vowels. Yeah, maybe that should have been a change 6 with keeping 1 vowel, but at this point, I mean, it would have reduced the duplication risk of the A, but this is just based on our knowledge of the bag and off a very small sample of what had gone down so far, so it wasn't certain or necessarily even likely that we were going to be picking up tons of consonants, but this is something we can play around for sure. The RST combination is really powerful. Keeping an A would also have allowed me to continue playing under the Z, but then by the same reasoning, you know, if you're drawing into I's, if you're drawing to A's, you can still play off either one there, so. Can you be an egger? I don't know about that. We could also just... don't like that. 9 points. I don't know why I even consider stuff like that. I should think about what else I can actually do with this. I mean, I could just, you know, try to lay off some consonants here, do double G there, down here. I feel like we can do a lot better than that, though. But if eggers... I'm just trying to think of the meaning here, like somebody who's throwing an egg, or... 30 points is enough there that maybe that's worth using the S in a situation where we're not getting much use out of the S otherwise. Yeah, let's open up. Once again, we're stuffed with consonants. Luckily, the Y can have a little bit of flexibility here, maybe. Also thinking about this top hook over here. And we'll see where we go. Yeah, I mean, we could always have an X Benny. Looking at this as well to see if maybe there's anything we can do. Something that's unwet. Something that's unwet. Can something be unwet and you would just call it unwet rather than dry? I don't know about that. But I'm also not confident either way in it, and it's relatively low stakes. I don't know about it, but I don't feel like I'm in a position to actually look at it and double challenge. This is a nice spot for burnt. I like that a lot better. And then we can continue stretching out a bit without blocking up the lanes on the bottom of the board. Yeah, I like that a lot better, I think. After throwing in all those A's earlier, we have still not drawn an A to do something with a Z, but... you know, that's just something we're retroactively considering, I guess. Yeah, I actually don't know about unwet. And the thing is, like I said, I am playing against an opponent who's call-in's dominant. And so, some things could sneak by me, some things sound plausible enough that if I don't know them 100% in terms of lexicon or meaning, we just have to live under a cloud of uncertainty here, so... I feel like here, with my next turn, something like Fernie... Okay, never mind, Inverter is just going to go down there. Inverter with this spelling, yeah, I think it's fine. There are some things that are only... OR instead of ER, but I'm pretty sure I can think of a couple of meanings for Inverter here in electrical engineering or whatever else that would probably have that spelling. I don't know. I'm definitely thinking about that, though, because I've been caught on something... I keep trying to type inventor. I've been caught on something like that before, like probably diverter or something. But inverter is like way too good to actually question here, I think. Yeah, originally I was looking at Fernie here. That's no longer available. Let's see what else we can do. Something like yen here, it might not be too bad because you would have the E hook in front. No, sorry, there's no EB. What am I even doing there? Something like yen here, sorry, with the E hook in front. It doesn't score very much. And we are way, way behind. Likewise, something like here would open the E hook up top, but like the positioning here is not terribly good. I mean, something like this would also score, but it would really close off that top corner and just lock it up, and I'm way too far behind to be locking things up that tightly. Looking at this, looking at this, looking at this. I think we'll go with that and just try to create some room for the E. Right now I need to try to score more reasonably than that, and also just try to open some things up from time to time. Spending the N, unfortunately, does get rid of the AN combination under the ZO here. That's something I probably should have considered before spending the N there, but yeah, leaving this nice and open for later, just in case, I don't know. But right now we're just sort of back in vowel trouble again, and so we'll see what we can do with that. I mean, I'm, you know, still looking at the Z spot a bit. But if we can get rid of more of this without locking things down, that would be much better. So let's say we have goofed over here. I don't mind that. It does kind of obstruct over here, but a lane isn't that good anyway. Like, you would have an A start or an I start there, but otherwise not much. So maybe moving the board over is not a bad idea. Keeping two vowels, not great, but with the pool of 23 vowels, 31 consonants. But I feel like goofed is one of the better options, and if it doesn't turn out to be the case, then we will have goofed. So yeah, we'll see what to do here. Just seeing what other options I have in the meantime. Fovea down here actually isn't too bad. It gets us out of a lot of that vowel trouble. 24 points. I like Fovea, in fact. And then it blocks off this landing in S, but S lane is still open. Stuff like this is still relatively unobstructed if we can use them later. E lane down here doesn't get blocked either. But yeah, I'm actually quite liking Fovea just because it does not perpetuate our issues with vowel consonant balance. So we'll see what actually remains available when it's my turn. For now, though, yeah, Kilo is going to go up there. That's going to pretty much kill off both the E idea here as well as anything coming down here. I don't really have a good way of playing over it either, because I'm just much too vowel heavy for that. So instead we will consider, given this change in our position, do we do goofed? 24 keeping AE or Fovea, 24 keeping DEO, opening this and closing off the big lane. Let's go Fovea. I don't know if that's the right way to think about it. We'll look at it afterwards and see if we need to rethink a bit, but one of the few things that would have gone over is FOO over here, like if we wanted to continue opening up rows. That would have been on a previous turn. But yeah, currently looking at something like maybe Dole, because EL might be nice in terms of creating some more space in that lane. And yeah, we shouldn't neglect looking for things like 7s and 8s, of course. Can you refoil something? I really don't think so, but... yeah, because you'd be looking at that. I really don't think so. I would challenge it in that position. Actually, no, I know you can't, because you would have seen it with... like, there's a relatively notorious phony, which is foilers. Like, I've seen foilers come off the board a few times, and the thing is, if something like refoil were actually in that set, I would know it. I think foilers is what I'm thinking of. There's something like that. There's also, like it's a bit of a trap. Is foilers and failers are these traps that look like they should be words. Yeah, I think it's that set, like foiler and failure and stuff like that. Because you're not a failer, you're a failure. And if you foil somebody, well, you're something else entirely. So we'll likely be doing something completely different. Like I said, I do like the idea over here. The other thing I can do is load, which scores similarly and threatens to do something with the F, although chances are just as good that my opponent might step on that with something else. We should consider that. Do we want EL as front hook, or do we just want E with that really obvious hotspot? So currently I'm considering Dole for 22 and load for 23. The case for Dole is that, first of all, it's not as obvious a thing to step on with that consonant. But that is can also start with something like an E. And we're keeping 2 vowels, 1 consonant. On the other hand, maybe I should threaten with the F. Because I have it and my opponent just spent those P's, and we'll see, because maybe even if something stretches over here, that would risk opening a triple lane, and we'll see if there's any kind of... Oh, geez, what did I do? Oh, oh, OL, yeah, no, I didn't even look at that, Yeah, no, I wasn't looking at that at all, okay. Yeah, no, my vision for 2s when I'm playing online is awful, and I know I'm not the only one who have reported that, and we lost our chance at an X that came out just now. Okay, Wasabi's going to go down there. We can now consider some other options, at least. Maybe... now we can do that. That's going to score a little bit more and open up that... oh, no, IL is not a word. Let's pay attention here. Possibly we can also do this. No, that isn't going to hit. Life? I like life, actually. I like life. Life is good. Because then we can put the D in front for a diff, and that's going to be a little more flexible than holding the F or anything. Let's score with it. Yeah, I should really stop myself and look at the 2s when I am just instinctively rearranging tiles. Because when you're playing over the board, you see, you actually have to physically pick up the tiles and place them one at a time, and then it's usually at that point that you've noticed that in your head you've done something completely absurd. And online, you don't necessarily do that. You just like look at the main board and go for it. So even a lot of top experts just don't even look at twos very well online, either as players or as people who could potentially challenge. And so full credit to my opponent for picking up on that immediately. The fact that we have two O's here is a little bit of a problem. I actually wonder if vocoded is good. I actually really like vocoded, it just won't fit because the V doesn't go anywhere. Like, so what I'm thinking of is vocoded. I don't know if that's actually good, but it's not going to go down, so it's completely academic here. Yeah, currently the main hook that we're looking for is something with a D down there. S lane is of course still available. Unless we have something that miraculously like ends in cow or something over here. But yeah, never mind about that vocoded. It's not going to come even close to going down. I don't think. I think the right thing to do here is probably just to play this off. And yeah, top side is going to be mostly locked up. You do still have a little bit of room here to go if you have a vowel start. Wanderer15, thank you so much for dropping by. Thank you for the follow. Anybody who is watching this game, or is relatively new to watching this game, Wanderer15, who just dropped here, is a must follow if you have any interest in Scrabble at all. Okay, let's see what we're doing here. We are not really in a bingo situation at all. Likely we'll just be finding some way to lay off some of this stuff for some meager points here. I mean, we would not really be dealing with the Y at all, but yeah, currently, you know, R with a blank would go here, D would go there. Otherwise, it's not really the most flexible lane. I still think spending the F there was pretty defensible, though. I think that's fine. I should not forget about stuff like the I or the A hook behind the AM, of course. Or even some consonants like P, in fact. That's a hook that I feel like I don't instinctively visualize all that often. Okay. We're so close to having something like enjoyed here. Not that that would have gone down either. Yeah, likely I think what's going to happen is I just play off a JO over here. And then you'd still have room down here for a parallel that ends with O, and we don't have O's, but I need to score and I need to put myself in more of a bingo capable position. And luckily lanes are staying open. This is kind of open if you're a bit heavy on vowels. Retaining the Y does put a bit of a damper on our possibilities there. But we'll see. I mean, one thing I could do is also think about some kind of two-step setup for the J, but I don't really see a good way to do that unless we have something like an O over here, which would look pretty obvious. Yeah, that's going to start blocking out the top lane. We can look at YO. We can look at JE. I think between the two, I want to go YO. And I think I prefer that over whatever it was we were thinking of with the J. Just because, well, I don't know. 30 points there, 18 points there. Very difficult to say no to this, obviously, but I'm just thinking about what we're trying to build towards here. I feel like we'll still have some scoring possibilities with the J, and that's in the interest of actually creating potential lanes. That's, yeah, Y is not good, but we'll put that there instead. Okay, now this is looking a little more playable. If we have room for Jadeite, we have Jadeite. We don't have that, of course, because nothing's really in position to give me that, so likely we'll just be playing off the J some other way. So for example, just by going a J to here, I don't know about spending a D though, because we do still want hooks there, but of course we have the blank to take care of that if things don't come together. And if something miraculously gives me a spot for Jadeite, we'll take it. But I think my opponent knows better than to give me lanes at this point, so not counting on that. Okay. Yeah, I'm just considering still my possibilities for the J. I think Jade is going to be fine. Doesn't score terribly well the J, and maybe the line of thinking I had with the Y wasn't great, but one thing we should make sure we look at is whether there would be something that would give me something like an ITY ending or something. It's mostly the J that's in the way of that right now. Even a fish one with the J is not a bad idea, actually. Because, like, if you're only scoring, what is it, 20 up here, 3-point sacrifice to dump the J and keep the AD and to keep the possibility of D-hook over here. And of course, that makes it look really, really obvious that I'm bingoing next, but I think the likelihood of hitting is actually pretty decent because we have these lanes here. We're a bit vowel heavy. So I am thinking mentally about what happens in a scenario that we do draw vowels, but the thing is we have like vowel-friendly hooks as well. For, you know, in edita and that kind of thing. Let's fish one. And, okay, fine, we're losing. But, I mean, the chances were not great anyway, so. Alright, let's just pick something or something here. Let's... Yeah, maybe just go striated or something. Let's not stress about it too much. Because, yeah, having the D there at least takes a hook that you otherwise would not be able to get because no tiles remain in the pool for that. So if we wanted to do like a 2 bingo path or something, I think it's actually better to spend a D here and leave the bottom open. But we're losing, so let's just take this. And... Actually, there were only 5 in the bag, so never mind. We didn't have a 2 bingo path anyway. I should have looked at that a little more closely. I was looking at the tiles in the pool and just ignored the count, which is... At this stage, not great, but when you know that the game is essentially over after entirely, then that's what happens. And a Jeep Placard. And I do know your name by anagram, but Jeep Placard I particularly like as a handle. Thank you for the follow. And okay, let's see what else we can do here. We pretty much just need to play out of this with this V. And yeah, thank you. I'm glad you liked the stream. Still trying to find time to do some more Scrabble content here from time to time, but while we have some pretty regular and solid competition before clubs get back to over the board, if they do manage to do so, despite some of the risk of a fall wave coming in, we'll just take all of the competition we can get. So yeah, because usually I can't stream until extremely late at night, NA time. Which luckily is still decently active on Woogles. The few times that I've decided to take the late night slot when Josh isn't already streaming or nobody else is already on, like the Woogles matches have actually been fairly easy to find, and even some Word Smog matches from time to time. And so I'm glad there's enough uptake on the service that you can find games in a reasonable amount of time at all hours. Otherwise, it would be just a lot of losing to HastyBot. Day in and day out. You think unwet is just an adjective? I didn't even look at this hook because I had just lost a challenge. I didn't even look at it. Because I was telling myself earlier on, yeah, I don't think unwet is an S hook. I think that we don't have any lanes for S. And then I lost a challenge, and I was still kind of reeling from the fact that I lost a challenge because I played a phony 2. And she played this quickly enough that I was still thinking about my phony 2, and I just didn't even look at this thing. Yeah, but I think you're right, because I did consciously think to myself, like, that is not an S-hook. And yeah, that's what I was saying earlier in the stream, is that, like, so much of my ability to spot phony 2s, either as the person playing or the person challenging, seems really dependent on just, watching tiles and fingers go on the board in a physical sense, and so I'm definitely one of the many people that's been affected by 2's vision just going out the window when playing online. So like I was saying, full credit to my opponent for picking up on that immediately and challenging it, because even on the challenger side, I think I would be prone to missing that from time to time. So yeah. Oh yeah, since this is no longer playable, the thing I wanted to check earlier was vocoded. Okay, never mind. It wouldn't have gone down anywhere, but I was wondering, maybe it's vocoder, or maybe that's not actually just anything. Yeah, just vocoder. Vocodered is the verb, okay. Vocoder, vocodered, vocoders. Good one to know for an extremely specific circumstance. Anyway, Orc is going to go down. I should have thought about that V. What we're doing with the V here. I think... yeah, likely we just do something silly and dump it somewhere small. Like vet or vat. Vat would be better, I think. No, maybe not. Just looking at where I would be going after this. Yeah, actually, no, that's fine, I think, because then we have a couple of spots afterwards. I feel like this is far from ideal, but... yeah, because I'm looking at Tate here afterwards, and... oh, wait, no. Isn't this, I was looking at this as my other spot, and I was thinking, isn't that Collins only? But I just don't remember when it's some of the 4s. Anyway, doesn't matter. We'll take Tate and just kind of stumble out of this one. So yeah, unwets, not valid. OL, which was what I played here, not valid, but everything else is fine. So this one, just didn't even pick up on that. So yeah, I wonder what it was that I was thinking of with the OR and ER endings. It might have been Diverter. But TED is not NWL. Okay, yeah, I feel like I should have remembered that. But I've sort of done just enough switching between the two lately that the 3 to 4 hooks have been particularly kind of scrambled in my head in recent memory. And yeah, living the wasabi life because we weren't paying attention to the S hook over here. Very spicy. And of course the wasabi life goes very well with some other fish, not necessarily cod. But I think cod is close enough. And okay, let's take a look at... Oh, I didn't really bring up my notepad that game, but I didn't really write anything down apart from a vocoded, which we already determined was not good. Might as well step through this quickly if I have time before my next pairing goes up. I'll just make sure I have an eye on my pairings chat. Okay, so this was my opponent's first turn, just playing through this. And yeah, I was weighing this against a change of AAOQ, and I was thinking, okay, no, 34 points is actually pretty substantial. Maybe I can draw into this and play through it. And it seems like the engine agrees with me here. I didn't quite know, looking at all that vowel duplication, just how much to penalize myself for this. But I guess that would have been like about a -20 for this AAAO. And so maybe it was the right idea to think, okay, I can get away with playing this first and actually scoring with the Q with an almost certain exchange next turn. And Zoeas is going to go down. And here, yeah, I was weighing change 6 against change 7. I kind of regretted not doing change 6 because of keeping the A here in a situation where duplication for A was much less likely than usual. Because it would be quite a while before I drew another A. And looking at the pool here, actually, 29 vowels, 53 consonants. I should have considered the pool. And seen that for a number of reasons. If you price into Z, if you price into pool, keeping A is probably better. Rhenium gets missed. I was thinking about the M hook there, but of course I wasn't in the position of looking at that. I think Rhenium is a bit of a hard one to see too if you don't just see it by alphagram due to that RH. And yeah, drew into a very consonant-heavy bag. Eggers is fine. Yeah, I was considering both of these as my next choices, and as you can see, the evaluation is decently close, as you'd be keeping an S into this situation as well. I mean, that would not be part of the calculation, but... Was that not a consonant-heavy bag? Let me take a look at that. Because on my turn, I've got... It is too early, and extra typo, I was thinking that too, that I often overvalue the balance in the pool around the first half of the game, and so that's why I was erring on the side of changing 7 as well. I feel like I don't have a very good internal heuristic for that kind of thing, and that like I haven't quite landed on the sweet spot for how to think about too early or too late. But yeah, I was thinking of 29 to 53, like when you take into consideration the A going under the Z and the fact that you have tons of A's already down, so the duplication risk isn't too much. Like, I don't know if that was the right decision, but I do know that I have a personal kind of cognitive bias of overvaluing the vowel consonant balance in the pool in the first couple of turns. Okay, don't mind you, I should have kept A, yeah. Yeah, I was wondering how bad it was going to be in terms of the consonant draw as well, but part of why I was thinking like maybe I could get away with the change 7 was because it was early. So anyway, unwet is going to be fine. I was actually a little bit unsure about unwet, but I was pretty sure it didn't take an S, and so that was a bit of a problem that I didn't look at that. I wasn't really looking at parallels in that top corner as well, but I think I was wary of the BE just shutting everything off, and so I kind of wrote that off early. I don't feel like I found a good alternative though, but I don't know. Maybe this is fine. And unwet and unwetted, but not unwetting. They're both just adjectives then. Yeah, I was looking at stuff like, I mean, I can see things like nervier and such, and the opponent rack here. What actually did get played here? Inverter, yes, okay. Right, because inverter, I mean, if some of the alternatives were considered inverter, well, I mean, this would have been better because this doesn't actually open much, but lots to choose from. I think you just pick something that you find at this point. I mean, not something like this, obviously, but we'll get hit by inverter. We will... I looked at this and thought I'm way too far behind to be locking up the corner like that. Particularly with Fey being an adjective that doesn't take the S either. Like, I saw that as probably the highest value play, but didn't like it. And, go Rob, welcome. Yeah, we're just going over this and talking about unwet. Good game, by the way. And it didn't know Vernier, and should have seen Nervier. Yeah. I would have been unsure about the meaning of Vernier in terms of whether it takes an S. Because I don't think I actually know what... Oh, a Vernier, an auxiliary scale that gives fractional readings. Yeah, I know what that is. But I don't think I would have known that was the meaning here as a loanword from French. Anyway, we'll speed through this because I do need to get to my third game in just a moment. But... yeah, I was thinking about something down here. But this was not great. Obviously. And then we missed Wasabi. What did I miss here? Foiled. Yeah. I guess I didn't consider that as an option that's a little higher in turnover. And scores 10 more. But I think I was a little fixated on keeping the D for the front hook here, though. And yeah, so we've discovered it's vocodered, and this was nothing anyway. Nervier, Vernier, Nerdier, Dernier. That's a nice pairing to remember, actually. Anyway, we'll get into the next game and not keep my opponent waiting. I didn't think about Aji. I did see the J-O fish there, and that's pretty much all I could have done, really. Didn't think hard enough about the bingos at the end either for steadier, which I should have seen. But at that point, that was essentially conceding, so... Alright, let's play. Not a very careful look there, but also not a very close game, so... Alright, let's go. Game 3, also NWL. And let's see how this goes. And yeah, extra typo, that's a good call on Tolarjev. There can't be that many 8 sets have the V ending like that, right? I mean, well, we can look at some of that stuff later, but... Because I feel like, you know, whenever I look at words on an ends with X letter basis, that V is just really easy to get out of the way because, you know, you just look at 4s ending with V, 5s ending with V, etc., and you can just knock that out really quickly. But yeah, I would not have looked at that exhaustively with 8s, for sure. Could really get you out of trouble, though, in a position that looks very closed. But you just need a sufficient sample size of games to actually get to that point. Okay, just making sure my drawing tool is up and running, so I don't accidentally back out of the game or something. We can probably parallel over. I'm just looking at this quickly. I think I'm too vowel heavy to do anything here. I think something like this is probably going to be fine. Yeah, let's go with it. A little bit heavy on all this duplication. I'm just trying to imagine like what we might have for any 8s, but I don't think this is likely, so. Not the kind of vowels we need for that. So yeah, let's just wait for the next play and see what happens here. Given the current situation on the board, I don't really like a lot of my options for trying to get myself out of the tiles that we have now. But we'll see what changes. Yeah, I think I just need to watch the situation and evolve, because if it's something like an exchange on this turn, I'm not actually sure what to do. Like, I guess maybe BINE here would not be horrible, because it would at least get me out of the problems with rack, even though... yeah, ISE, I mean 2 vowels in a rack. You can deal with it. There's enough going on with drawing from the bag. So I'd be looking at something like that, even if it doesn't remain available on the board. Because there's only so much we can do. Actually, no, this would be better, BINE, in this kind of parallel, if the situation remains somewhat static here. Obviously, you have TI there being this massive spot for X, and less threateningly a Z. You need an AZ ending. A couple of different things can go there, but we'll see. Anyway, the idea is that I want to unduplicate, and if I need to keep IESE to do it, we'll do it. Anyway, let's just watch this and see what's going on. I'm also thinking about front hooks on this guy here. I don't think I can think of one, though. Because, yeah, it wouldn't be S, it wouldn't be any other vowels, I don't think. I don't think there's anything, so... Orowides is going to go down. That gives me another spot to think about what I was saying with BI. I think I would rather shed vowels than keep much. This does create that. ES ending, though. I feel like it's not as bad as it could be in terms of what's going in front, but I think between the two I'd rather go down here and leave that open. Yeah, let's go with that. This is something. I see a couple of... Well, I mean, I see the... 8 polarized, not that it goes down anywhere. I'm looking for... anything else, like you get a whole bunch of 8s, I think, but I don't think you can pre-oil something. I would have seen this by probability. Might want to look at the LESS ending, since there is an S on the board. But maybe not. Yeah, and there's like policers, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not going to write everything I'm seeing, but basically we should be looking at 8s for sure if I can't say. Oh, no, there's spoiler. Spoiler alert. Spoiler. Spoiler alert, we didn't see the word spoiler. So spoilers would go down here, spoiler, rather, would not really go down anywhere else now. Like, you need something like an RS ending for this. Yeah, so we'll just see what remains open then. Whether I can actually do anything. Also, pretty quick find there on the Oroides, given that it was a double blank with that OOI in there. I mean, OOI is just basically going to make you look for stuff like Oroides, but given what a time burner a double blank situation could be, let's see if there's anything I'd rather do. Polisher, repolish. You can definitely repolish, right? But that's okay. No, we'll go spoiler. And yeah, here we'll probably just get rid of ABA somewhere if we can, but if we can't, we'll do something different. Maybe lava somewhere, or we'll see. We'll play around the board and see what I'm actually given here. Like venal, maybe? That keeps 3 vowels. No, definitely not. But maybe something like Eve. Yeah, keeping the L, unless we want to spend it for leave, but oddly enough, I don't think that would be a great leave. That's okay, we'll sit here and see if anything really presents itself. Okay, so that's going to go down over here. We can't really do much unless we have, you know, they're down here. Oddly enough, I can play something like venal like that. 29 keeps AA. I mean, I don't know if it justifies keeping AA, but let's see the alternatives. 21 here. 29 here, AA. 21 here, AALN. So do I do something with constant vowel balance, or yeah, let's do that. Open things up a bit. I don't know if that was the right way of thinking about it. I mean, interestingly enough, if I kept AA here, this would have left an A hook for me, but, you know, I don't want to count on a bag too much with a duplicate vowel draw like that. I don't know, it's one of those things where I feel like I'm not really making the calculation very precisely, and so just have to spend more time doing leave evaluation and getting a better idea of how that works. Currently looking at something like loan, if it remains open. And up here would just be like 10 points, but... Okay, Lex is going to go down there. I don't know if we actually have anything interesting here. I'm not going to keep like a double duplicate rack like that. Let's go loan. Unless I'm missing anything particularly interesting. I somehow doubt it. Way too much duplication. Scores almost nothing. Yeah, we'll see how worried I should be about this. But I may just need to do some kind of small play to fill off some consonants down there. You know, like Nagger or something. Or Ganger. Corbale, that's very nice. That's very nice. I'm fairly confident in this one. But I could always be wrong. Yeah, I think we need to just turn things over a bit. I am fairly far behind, and so I'm reluctant to just be obstructing things where not very many points. Am I considering what else I could do with this? Nothing gangrenous, unfortunately. Something like this might not be too bad, actually. GRN has to leave. And it doesn't really open because of that G, but used to bottom lane alive at least. Let's do it. Now I don't think you can have multiple ragings, but you can have greasing. There's probably something else in there too. Can something be snaggier? I don't know about that, but greasing is definitely there. It's one that if it were also in there, I should know it as a set. But I wouldn't try ragings. I feel like I would have remembered it if I had seen it in the INGS list, even though it has been very long since I've last looked at anything like that, doing prefixes and suffixes. But yeah, we'll think about greasing. It's going to be in one of the lowest scoring spots possible when it comes to bingos, but points are points. And when it does get obstructed on the right side, I should think carefully about whether I would want to try something like snaggier. I don't think so. But, well, maybe. I don't think there's going to be just, oh yeah, gear rings is good. That I'm actually fairly confident in because of earrings and some of the hooks. Dangles the S a little further if we want to keep it, but let's take a look. Greasing. Yeah, G ending there, S ending there. If I want to leave it nice and open, we leave the S ending. Let's do it. Yeah, we're not that far behind right now, but think ahead a little bit just in case. S's are not all gone yet, one left. And of course double blank was expended early on, so... Very consonant heavy pool, actually. 9 to 19 ratio. Of course, we should be looking at the fact that I do have the U for the Q here, one remaining U. Not too much is going to go there, though, apart from... Apparently we have stuff like quote and queen and all that, but then it's just a matter of, you know, what I want to risk here, would I want to put the E in this location? It's not up to me, so never mind that. I feel like we're probably too vowel heavy for this to give me anything interesting in terms of 8s. Yeah, this is a tricky situation, actually. Z is really going to lock down this corner, too. We could try to maybe stretch down here a bit. Don't think there's a good play to do that with, though. But if you have something like, you know, Eon or... Ugh, yuck. I mean, we're in a vowel-heavy situation right now, but we're likely to draw into consonants. Also notice the 4 T's in the bag. Or 4 T's unseen. That, at this stage, does kind of incentivize playing off the T if we actually have the luxury of playing consonants and choosing between them. Something like maybe TOO here. I don't know about that. UNEE. Yuck. Don't like that. Yeah, looking at what else we could do here, maybe. Maybe stretch this out, open up the right side. 14 points. Does open up the triple lane in a way that's likely to be taken, but I feel like if one thing goes down, maybe the other thing remains open. That's at least going to give me a bit more of a playable leave, and this is not too much of an issue, I hope. The duplication of T's was something I was a little bit worried about, though, and indeed that's going to come in. I feel like that was a difficult turn. I didn't like a lot of my options. Here we might be thinking of something like mute for 24. We might be looking at... Well, we don't really have much to do here. Yeah, drawing the E, V, and Y and having to duplicate T's, like everything's kind of closing up on me here. Clang definitely takes to Y, I think. That's something to keep in mind if we have some kind of small play that could do something for us there, but... Okay, Wayne is going to go down, so yeah, that... I feel like we're going to leave this open for any potential hooks that will go down there, and that we can think about scoring elsewhere, opening elsewhere. 10 in the bag right now. Is still have a J and 3 T's. Interestingly enough, drawing a J for JUTE here would actually be quite nice if it comes down to that. Looking at stuff like this, don't like this. 20 points gets rid of the V, but unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff we can't deal with. Better than this, though, I think. And then if we draw... Well, this is the second last E. Should look at this too in case there's something with the Y parallel beside the B that would actually be useful. I feel like no. It would have been very nice to have the Collins only VLY in this game, actually. But then that's very often going to look useful. Yeah, this doesn't do anything for me, though. I mean, it gets rid of the V, but that's literally all it accomplishes. On the other hand, getting rid of the V is a big bonus right now. It's just... That's... Yeah, we could be doing a lot better than that, I think. And then some of this stuff is probably going to close up on me here. I feel like keeping YV here definitely will not win, though. Like, maybe we should just see if we can do something. Yeah, no, playing up to the E, I think maybe is not great. I don't know. Because I'm looking at this, I should have valued, as I said, playing off T's a little bit more, just given the T situation. I was looking at this hook as something that we wanted to keep open for M or T. I was looking at wanting to score there, but the V, I just don't know what to do with the V in a situation like that. I mean, I was far behind enough that, given the pool, I don't know if an exchange accomplishes very much, but maybe I should have at least looked at that. I don't know. Yeah, because that was a pretty rough situation. Because I'm behind by enough at that point. That was like 247 to 334, about 100 behind. And lose one tempo to the exchange, but then you... like, basically overtly try to threaten something down here instead of being stuck with a rack that's unlikely to draw into a bingo or anything interesting the next turn. Yeah, I wonder if an exchange is actually still winnable in that position, given how far behind you would be and the fact that the lanes themselves are not going to score very much. You would need, at that point, something like a bingo and a big J play or something to that effect to come back. And the J's on that side anyway, so yeah, that's... this is all done. And now I don't really have much to do here either. Okay. Might as well just play off consonants and see if we can do anything interesting from there. Yeah, I'm thinking of something like this, but the problem with that is that I just have no follow-up to any of this stuff. Like, I mean, this is kind of a lost position, I think. Yeah, let's think about this carefully. Does this give me anything interesting? Like, still too many T's. And we want R up here. Yeah, let's just play off constants, I guess. I mean, I don't see what to do here. Yeah, this is probably bad play. Like, maybe exchange out of that would have at least given me some flexibility. Obviously, the J wasn't going to be in my hands anyway. And then this would have totally shut down this side, so... I mean, theoretically, you have some possibilities through here, but... I think as soon as I was dealing with that V after Ozone, things looked pretty rough. I still think Ozone was maybe not a horrible idea. Obviously, I did come out a little bit behind there with the play going down to here, but it was still something that was keeping possibilities going. In terms of, you know, being able to imagine drawing something decent into UTE, which in the end we didn't do. Anyway, Cyanide's going to go down, and I don't know that we have much we can do here. We can have like a Turk. But looking pretty dead, I think. Yeah, I mean, the IST is going to go down somewhere. I just need to play for some kind of points. Yeah, that's going to have no trouble going down, and that's going to farm a bunch of points off my rack. So, not a great game for me, but there are a lot of things, especially near the end, that I think I could have done quite a lot better. In terms of, you know, getting out of a bit of a rough situation as you head into pre-endgame. Actually barely getting over the line with that 304 there, but I mean, the bingos were kind of weak in terms of actually scoring. And the plays in between, I think, were just generally a little bit tepid, so we are just going to pass, and yeah. So yeah, that went a little bit rough. But I have to go back over this and rethink it. Yeah, really felt like the second half in particular just started falling apart, so... Anyway, everything played here is valid. Let's look over it. I think that very often a lot of losses that look like this do come down to something avoidable, and so I do want to know. As we chose this, EINO is actually not regarded as too bad here. Just exchanging some quick pleasantries with my opponent as we finish up. Okay, so lots of things you can do with the double blank situation here, obviously. I mean, if you really wanted to look for crazy parallels, you could do it. But aura-wise, is honestly going to be fine. Not ideal, but saving time is the name of the game with double blanks, I think. This was probably fine. It actually was best by equity over here, but Haya in this position not bad. The alternative would have been down here. I actually don't know if Haya takes an S. I didn't think it did. Like, I know Hoya does. I don't think Haya takes an S now. I can always check that quickly. Yeah, I think it's actually just Hoya's. Anyway, spoilers, polisher, repolish, that's what we found. I didn't look at Spieler. But that's just a 6, so never mind that. Spoilers, that's fine. Dew over here, that's going to be found. So here, yeah, I was looking at Venal over here. Maybe Venal with AA is okay. I was, once again, kind of shying from AA. I know that technically having the duplicate vowel is going to be about a -5, which is what it does evaluate to here, but... So in terms of point sacrifice, maybe I should have taken Venal over this, especially knowing that A would still give me some hook possibilities there. But, you know, keeping AA is something that I was just very reluctant to do. A difference of 9 points there. Okay, yeah. Okay, lots of stuff that can happen with the X here, and I'm going to be hit pretty hard with Lex on the left side. This rack I had a bit of trouble with, but finding Lone here was best, even if it wasn't great. This was quite nice. A sculptured fruit basket. Clang also evaluates best. But again, if you look at the possibilities here, the possibilities are, in general, not great. Yeah, Kirsch is not something you see every day. It is going to go down. And yeah, Snaggear is good. And then that's the set. Snaggear, Greasing, Gearings. I was thinking Gearings to keep up some volatility for further plays down here. I think that was the right idea, even if in the end nothing actually happened. But yeah, I mean, you know, with this row dead at this point, it doesn't make sense to do Snaggear. Here's Quiz over here, and then at this point I start getting into some trouble because it's starting with this turn that I really feel lost. And I guess 7 vowels, 18 consonants in a bag. Maybe EU is not dreadful, but as you can see, there's a pretty significant penalty in terms of how much that's worth. Like the rack is about a -8. The EU. Should have considered some other possibilities here. I feel like maybe Ozone... I mean, all of this stuff evaluates pretty poorly within the same range of about 13 or 14 points, and so positionally speaking, I think the idea with Ozone where, you know, I risk being hit with something, but I threaten some lanes, I go down to UTE, which is one of the better leaves I can ask for here. Maybe that's not absolutely awful. I'm just looking at some of these other leaves here, because it would have been nice to keep something like EOT, ENO. Same kind of issue, I guess, where... Well, even if you just have a straight play down here, maybe potentially you could have a lane, but... I think this would actually restrict things a bit, and maybe opening that column with Ozone was Okay. This seems like the kind of turn that I actually need to run into Sim, because I honestly don't know about this trade-off here. But I think, you know, thinking about this position here is maybe best. Especially because anything is just obstructing this R lane. Although I wasn't thinking very hard about the R lane. Yep, that's pretty clearly best. Over here. He wouldn't have played Mon here and left that open on the right side. I think on balance, you close up. That's what happened. So here is where I'm totally stuck. Given that I considered Venal in the spot earlier, I should have looked at it again for Vet. I think I was reluctant to do that because it would close off the lane that I still had open, and so I just ruled out this thing from the start. Vent, though, that's interesting. That's interesting. Not great up there. Keeping MUTY is still a net negative. But there aren't good leaves with this. Drawing into the bag. It's just that I don't think an exchange is really viable at this point either, with the pool and the situation that it's in. This at least threatens something. Like, I feel like I did need to open up the top left somehow, and that we just weren't really properly considering the possibilities for it. Yeah, I mean, anything closing down there, I think I would have ruled out. Feels like a pretty lost position on this rack, actually. This rack specifically. But... and yeah, that's going to close down, sensibly so. This actually was best by valuation, which at this point is what we should go for. And so is Turk over here, which is -6, so at least we're finding some stuff like that, even if it's a lost position, starting at least from the Ozone turn, I think, definitely from the V turn, where I just did not see a way out of that. So, I don't really know what I could have improved on in terms of like a really decisive moment where I made some kind of really bad decision I should have corrected otherwise. Sometimes it's obvious when I go through a game where I just kind of crash out what the turning point is in terms of some really bad decision that I made that has cascading consequences. But here it's just kind of a death by 1,000 cuts. Alright, so that could have gone better. But we will close it down from here, I think. And so a 1-2 record today. Not great play. Even the game that I won, I think, was significantly uplifted by a significantly uplifted by a sequence of really great draws. So didn't really have something like a close endgame situation to look at today because everything was just decided very early. Next week, I don't know if we'll be able to run this stream, but if we don't, we'll have some kind of Scrabble content to replace it, hopefully, on the late time slot. Other than that, it is going to be back to Mario Maker for the rest of the week and going into the weekend, as usual. And that's likely to be the plan. Scheduling is, as always, just going to be posted on the Discord and elsewhere. And we'll see you around, so. I'm going to scan around quickly to see if we have anybody worth passing a micro raid onto. And, yeah. We'll send you on in just a moment. Thank you for watching. And until next time, fare thee well.